It's Friday, June 5th, 2026. You're listening to the DX Today AI Daily Brief. Today, Intel and Foxconn join forces on the hardware powering artificial intelligence. Canada unveils a sweeping national AI strategy and a record raise for AI-generated music. Let's get into it.
Intel and Foxconn unveiled a sweeping new partnership on June 4th to build the next generation of artificial intelligence infrastructure. The two companies will jointly develop rack-scale AI systems powered by Intel's Xeon processors, paired with advanced interconnect, cooling, and system monitoring designed to make data centers faster and easier to scale. The collaboration reaches well beyond the data center. Intel and Foxconn say they will also target edge AI and so-called physical AI platforms, spanning robotics, smart manufacturing, smart cities, and automotive systems. The pair even left the door open to custom silicon, including application-specific chips tuned for specialized AI workloads. It is a notable move as both firms chase a larger share of the booming compute market.
North now to Canada.
Canada laid out an ambitious national artificial intelligence strategy on June 4th. Prime Minister Mark Carney and AI Minister Evan Solomon introduced a plan built around large-scale data centers, new limits on controversial surveillance pricing, and a push to accelerate adoption across government, industry, and everyday life. The strategy singles out 5 priority sectors where Ottawa wants AI to take hold: health and life sciences, energy and natural resources, transportation, agriculture, and manufacturing and robotics. Officials framed the effort as both an economic bet and a sovereignty play, an attempt to ensure Canada builds and controls its own AI capacity rather than leaning entirely on foreign providers. It joins a wave of governments racing to set national AI agendas this year.
Out west to Utah.
In Utah, investor Kevin O'Leary signaled he is willing to dramatically shrink one of the largest proposed AI data center campuses in the country. The project, known as Stratos, in Box Elder County, had been approved at a staggering 40,000 acres. After mounting backlash over its size and environmental footprint, Utah Senate President J. Stewart Adams sent a letter calling for a 75% reduction, down to roughly 10,000 acres. O'Leary indicated around June 4th that he would scale the campus back. The episode highlights a growing tension across America, communities increasingly pushing back on the land, water, and power demands of giant AI facilities, even as developers race to bring new compute online.
Turning to the lab.
OpenAI expanded its scientific ambitions on June 4th, announcing new capabilities for a model it calls GPT Rosalind, aimed squarely at biological research. The company says Rosalind's deeper grasp of biology will help researchers connect evidence across scientific literature, genomics, transcriptomics, sequence data, structure, and experimental results, making it easier to move from raw data to clearer decisions. OpenAI pointed to drug maker Novo Nordisk as an early adopter, using the model to analyze complex datasets, surface patterns, and test hypotheses more quickly. The launch underscores a broader trend: frontier AI labs increasingly targeting the life sciences, where the promise of faster discovery is colliding with enormous commercial stakes in drug development and healthcare.
Now following the money.
A startup called Semble stepped out of stealth on June 4th with $35 million in fresh funding, led by venture heavyweight Andreessen Horowitz. Founded by former Robinhood and Superhuman employees, Semble is building artificial intelligence tools to automate the back-office work that bogs down small businesses, the invoicing, bookkeeping, and administrative tasks owners rarely have time for. The pitch taps a powerful theme in this year's funding climate: applying AI agents to unglamorous but essential operations. Investors have poured money into automation startups, promising to hand small firms the kind of efficiency once reserved for large enterprises. With a marquee lead investor behind it, Semble enters a crowded but fast-growing field.
Over to Grok.
Elon Musk's xAI shipped a batch of updates on June 5th, headlined by a feature called Skills for Grok. Skills lets users of Grok 4.3 on web, iOS, and Android create, customize, and share persistent expertise that carries across conversations, so the assistant can retain specialized knowledge rather than starting fresh each time. The company also rolled out developer-focused tools, including a context compaction interface that shrinks long conversations to cut cost and speed up responses, plus a new low-latency connection mode for tool-heavy agent workloads. The updates reflect xAI's push to make Grok more useful for sustained, agent-style tasks, an area where rivals are competing aggressively.
Staying with assistants.
Perplexity widened the reach of its desktop ambitions, making its product known as Perplexity Personal Computer available to Macs and Enterprise Max subscribers on Windows as of June 5th. The tool pushes Perplexity beyond simple search into a more agentic role on the desktop, helping users carry out multi-step tasks directly on their machines rather than just answering questions. The Windows rollout signals Perplexity's intent to compete not only with traditional search engines, but with the broader wave of AI assistants embedding themselves into operating systems. As the company expands from a search challenger into a full AI platform, its move onto the desktop puts it in more direct competition with the largest players in the field.
A policy shift now.
Vermont moved to draw a hard line around artificial intelligence in mental health. In legislation advancing this week and highlighted in a June 5th policy update, the state acted to bar AI systems from providing therapy, blocking chatbots from offering mental health diagnoses, treatment plans, or therapeutic guidance. Supporters argue that vulnerable people deserve human clinicians, not algorithms, when seeking care, citing concerns about safety and accountability. Vermont is not alone. Lawmakers across the country are wrestling with where AI belongs in healthcare, and several states are weighing similar restrictions. The move reflects a wider reckoning over the limits of automation in deeply personal, high-stakes domains, where a wrong answer can carry real human cost.
Into the warehouse.
Healthcare supply giant Medline announced what it calls a first-in-healthcare artificial intelligence robotics partnership with Symbotic. Medline will deploy Symbotic's AI-powered automation across its warehouses, using robotics to handle the picking, storage, and retrieval of medical supplies bound for hospitals and clinics. The company says the goal is a more resilient, efficient, and scalable healthcare supply chain, a lesson hard won during years of pandemic-era shortages and disruptions. Medline says it is the first healthcare company to adopt this particular technology at scale. It is a vivid example of physical AI moving off the demo stage and into the unglamorous machinery of logistics, where automation can quietly reshape how essential goods reach the people who need them.
More funding news.
Enterprise voice artificial intelligence drew fresh investor attention on June 4th. Ringg AI, a startup based in Bengaluru, India, is in talks to raise roughly $10 million in a round reportedly led by Peak 50 Partners, the firm formerly known as Sequoia India. Ringg builds voice AI for businesses, the kind of systems that handle customer calls, sales conversations, and support at scale. The interest reflects a hot corner of the market, as companies race to replace or augment call centers with AI agents that can speak naturally and operate around the clock. For India's startup ecosystem, the deal is another sign that global investors see the country as fertile ground for applied AI.
Now the sound of AI.
The world of AI-generated music got a major vote of confidence. Suno, a startup that lets anyone create songs using artificial intelligence, has raised $400 million at a valuation of $5.4 billion, according to reporting around June 3rd. The raise lands even as the music industry wrestles with thorny questions about copyright, artist compensation, and what it means for machines to compose. Suno has become one of the most visible names in generative audio, attracting both enthusiastic users and sharp legal scrutiny. The fresh capital gives the company significant runway to scale, defend itself in court, and push deeper into a creative frontier that is reshaping how music gets made.
One more story.
Finally, Google pushed its fast and affordable AI tier forward. Gemini 3.5 Flash reached general availability this week, with Google touting frontier-level intelligence at roughly 4 times the speed of comparable models. The company says the model handles a 1 million token context window, posts strong scores on coding and agent benchmarks, and undercuts rivals on price at $1.50 per million input tokens and $9 per million output. The release sharpens a fierce battle over the workhorse models that power most real-world AI applications, where speed and cost often matter more than raw peak performance. For developers building agents and high-volume tools, cheaper and faster frontier capability is exactly the lever they have wanted.
That's your briefing for Friday, June 5th, 2026. For DX Today, stay curious.